Of course, there were some different views as to how to manage the internet. For example, in the west part of Europe, the Americans were trying to make a more stringent constraint about intellectual property. Let's say, for example, if you cite some property of the internet, some service and so on, if you try to mimic that, they say, well, that's property. But there was obviously no precise definition of that intellectual property. They were the ones who decided it was their own property. The second thing now is mainly privacy. Well, maybe not privacy in the second, in the popular interpretation of the constraint, it's privacy. But actually, in the mind of most of the political people, it's security. Security, but security's privacy is very close to each other. So the people who don't know about security talk about privacy. The European, or at least the Western part of the world, has been complaining about this monopoly that the US had over internet. Let's remember that they had somehow, not really promised, but talked about opening the governance to various countries. Which ones we didn't know yet. But about 3-4 months before the first Internet Governance Forum, that was in 2003, they sent a letter to every delegation of the countries saying there will be no change in Internet governance. In other words, go home. There's nothing to look at. So that's where the Swiss became pretty good at playing the game of managing some kind of acceptable position, both for American and the West European. They say, well, okay, so we probably need a space for discussion. We're not finished with the subjects. We have a lot of things to improve. Let's have now something called the Internet Governance Forum. It was just the same with a different name, except that there was no budget. Most of the people who were working for the governance subject were financed somehow by ICANN or American firms. But 2 years ago, they decided to extend for 10 more years the Internet Governance Forum, which was nothing but a salon of conversation, But what happened since is that Donald Trump, one thing, which takes all kinds of decisions totally unpredictable, incompatible with the previous one and so on, so totally unpredictable. That makes a lot of countries very, let's say, unsatisfactory and unhappy about that.